so slight change of plans compared to what was normally scheduled for today. So usually this is going to be my arm day, right? Bis, tris, maybe just a touch of forearms as well. But I can tell that I think I just barely pulled my right bicep. Like, I think it was from doing really heavy straight bar curls. Probably just because I haven't done them for a while. I think it was 2 arm days ago, or maybe last arm day. So I can feel that right on the peak, right at the outside edge, if I really flex it, I get just a minor twinge. Like, I still feel like I can curl weight without it, actually, getting any worse. But for the most part, it's never going to be in your best interest to, hit a muscle if it's in a, let's call it a compromised state. So, what would have been bis, tris, and forearms, I'm going to cut bis out, skip them, and just make this a tricep and forearm day. So, I'm sure after just this one gap, so pretty much a week rest for biceps. I guess they get a little bit of work on back day, but whatever. I think an extra week, well, usually it's only about 3 days rest. So a full week of no direct bicep work, plus, bulked diet, so full of carbs and energy. I definitely do not foresee it being a problem. But if you can tell on your chest day, you feel just a little funky, you're feeling a little something every time you really squeeze it, or if you're doing back, you got a twinge in your lat, kind of rough. Let's think about this. What's going to be better? What's the better scenario, right? Trying to go heavy and do your normal workout and then hurting yourself legit and you've got to take 2 weeks off, or maybe just taking a week off that one particular muscle preemptively, not getting hurt, and then coming back without a problem. I didn't mean to say, I didn't mean to drop so many F-bombs in that sentence, but it just kind of came naturally. But you get what I'm saying, If you got a little something tweaked, probably back off. But in that same logic, if you don't feel like you have anything tweaked, you feel like you're in tip-top condition, extra strong, extra whatever, then, I say push it to the limit. Do some sets after a proper warm-up, of course, of a weight where you can really only get 8 reps. You can, no chance you can get 9 if you actually push yourself hard. Because I've kind of been starting to enjoy, or I guess let's just say implement, lighter squeezing sets. Like for triceps, I'm going to start off with light single arm cable extensions, which I've kind of started the last 2 arm days off with, before I move into maybe heavy dips later on. So I've been starting to lighter controlled, really squeezing reps, really focus on the squeeze, slow, controlled, like that. But I still think throwing around as much weight as your muscles can handle, putting as much tension on them as you can for a legit set, 8 at least ish. I still think that both of those are going to stimulate your muscle in slightly different ways. So you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. Right? You want to try to hit your chest in as many ways as possible to stimulate growth. So I'd say an even blend of sets where you really push the weight, as well as sets where maybe you back off a little bit and really focus on the squeeze and burn. I think an even mix of those is going to be in your best interest. But if you're fucked just a tad and you don't want to really push the weight, then just do your light squeezing sets. So I'll probably throw some, I don't know. I'll see what time allows for. I can still feel my calves from yesterday, from doing the calf raises on the on the leg press. So I'll see how I feel, if I want to hit calves at the end of this or not. But yeah, let's just get in there and get started. All right, so interestingly enough, actually starting the lift off with something I sort of had premeditated. Usually I just kind of come in and do whatever looks good. But like I was saying, single arm, kind of cross body style. I guess kind of like a katana extension, but instead of going up over the head, it's down in front of the body, whatever you'd call that. But let's just get at least 2 here. I mean, moderate weight, but still light enough where I'm really focusing on squeezing instead of just pumping out heavy reps, if you follow my logic. Okay. Yeah, one more. Okay. Let's just transition straight into the overhead dumbbell work. I've been saying this for a while, but if you haven't heard me say it, I think my triceps, at least the long head, the big part, has been slacking. Because, I mean, I feel like I'm killing it with pushdowns. I get a real good squeeze, move around a lot of weight, solid pump too. But I think I'm missing out on that overhead stretch of doing something, well, fucking overhead. So I'm gonna try to get at least a couple sets of, ideally, I'd have a machine made for overhead tricep extensions, but apparently that's kind of rare. So overhead single arm dumbbell is my second best choice, given the equipment I've got here. Yeah, so I was a little bit, I tried one, well, I didn't even try a rep. I just picked up the 60s, a little too heavy. But I think the 55 is just right. So I'll start with the right tricep since it's a little bit behind the left one. Let's say I get, 15 reps. Even if I could get maybe 17 or 18 with the left one, which is stronger and bigger, I'm still gonna cut it at 15 just so they kind of balance out. The right one can get a little more work and catch up to the left one. Let's drop to the 50s. Okay. Oh. Let's do some machine dips next. All right, so instead of going for as much weight as I can possibly do, I'll do a bit of a squeezing set. So a little more than half a stack, but I'm really gonna focus on trying to honestly, in my mind, I'm kind of trying to imagine hyper extending my arm, bending it backwards. That's how hard I'm trying to pull with my triceps. Okay. One more like that. All right, let's do something. Yeah, so I think tries will just finish with 2 sets of straight bar pushdowns. Honestly, this whole workout was really focusing on, light squeezing sets. I'm not like throwing 3 plates on the side of the stack, but I'm gonna make it a good set by way of slow, controlled. Well, not that slow, but controlled. And when I get to the bottom, I'm trying to rip this fucking metal handle apart. Obviously, I'll never do it, but that's the cue I'm imagining. Like when I get to the bottom, I'm trying to pull it apart. And then the action of doing that, or the action of thinking of doing that, lets me squeeze my triceps even harder. But 2 here, and then we can check the tricep pump. Okay. Let's go see how they're looking after 8 moderate weight sets. All right, a couple of clicks down on the exposure to add to some freakiness. Now let's see a dedicated tricep pump. Usually by the time I do a pump check on arms, I've already finished tries and I'm only checking once buys are fully pumped. So kind of a rare occurrence. I don't really want to stop an arm day just for the tricep pump check. I kind of want to just stay in the groove and then look at, arms on their own, fully pumped. But yeah, let's see how tries are looking. God damn. Come on. So a tricep pump is pretty fucking freaky, especially because it really adds to the thickness of my arms, at least from the front. Maybe not just my arms, everybody's, but like just standing here kind of like this in a little bit of a front relaxed pose, I feel more fucking brolic because my triceps are just poking out over the ends. Right now, even without flexing them, they're fucking tense. They're fucking full of blood. Like, I can't even touch my... Okay, I lied. I can touch my shoulders, but it's just from triceps being pumped alone, I almost can't. And then a full tricep pump with biceps unpumped. Fuck. That double bi looked pretty freaky. Yeah. So that's what I want. I want my triceps to hang lower and have a really big sweep underneath my biceps. Honestly, I think right now, I think tries definitely need to catch up. No, so this is what I was talking about. So for the bicep, it's right here, kind of right below this vein. I feel a little bit of, just a little something. Like even when I curled those 50s, I could feel it just a little something. So not going to hit buys. Part of me wants to just get a pump from the 20s, but I think it'd be better off to just let them chill. So let's actually hit some shots and then go do forearms and little calves. Dude, yeah, fucking tricep pumps in the lat spread too. It just looks fucking bigger. Like the bigger your triceps are, the further they jut out, and they just make my frame look larger. Like a front lat spread, well, if you have huge biceps, your front lat spread will get a little bit more impressive, but big buys, like having a ton of meat on the inside, it's not going to make you any larger. You know, I feel like this is all about fucking illusions. So big shoulders, big triceps, really making you wide up top. That is going to add to some freak factor without a doubt. Oh, dude, even just sitting here flexing. Oh my goodness. All right, can I even reach my arm around to get a good side tricep shot? Oh. Whew. Yeah, so do you see that part that's poking out over the back? Right, like right behind my elbow? This big piece, that's the long head. That is what I want to build up on this bulk. That's obviously overarching goal. Get fucking huge, right? That's the point of the fucking bulk. But underneath of that veil, I do have kind of specific changes I want to make. Like I'd say I want bigger legs. Everybody wants bigger legs. But getting real niche with it, I want bigger triceps specifically. I think everything is pretty much in proportion. Obviously, legs can be bigger. Legs can always be fucking bigger. But right now, I'm liking how triceps look pumped with everything else unpumped. So I'm really hoping that adding in some more of that overhead dumbbell stuff and really hitting failure and getting a huge stretch is going to help me achieve that. As well as, I mean, just fucking trying to up the intensity, right? Make sure I really push it. I could pick the perfect exercises and I can have the perfect routine, like based on movements written out for me. But if I don't bring it, you know, if I don't fucking go hard day in, day out, I'm not going to get the results I want. So it's kind of an even mix of like the intellect side, like the training optimally side, doing movements which are, you know, going to target specific areas of muscles in specific ways, and like doing drop sets or super everything, all sorts of mumbo jumbo you hear, right? That's a part of it. As you progress as a lifter, you should get more knowledge like that. Just, you know, basic training ideas and movements and how to set up shit. That's all well and good, but you have to couple that knowledge and that like experience with fucking your effort. You got to be able to fucking go crazy. So I think that in all honesty, that side is probably a little bit more important than this side. I think I could get pretty big if the only thing that I did in the gym for triceps, well, I mean, if I just did a routine for this whole bulk, or I only did one movement per muscle, like let's say all I did was 8 sets of bench, 8 sets of pull downs, 8 sets of dumbbell curls, 8 sets of push downs, 8 sets of lateral raises. Like if I just did one movement for everything, if I went hard, I do think I would get some fucking results. But I also don't think that's the best case scenario. I want to change it up, right? Your body responds to different movements and sets and whatever else pretty well. So I think really what I'm trying to say is, you know, sure, work smart, but really make sure you work hard. I think that's my conclusive statement for this tricep pump. So let's go hit forearms. Fucking everybody's training forearms now. So I think the plan to mitigate any bicep tension but still work this kind of flexor part where you're going like this is I'll just sit here, single arm. I don't know, I'll probably do maybe 6 sets. I am kind of in a rush a little bit, but all I'm doing is going to kind of bend over, load the weight, and I'm just going from here to here. That's all these muscles do. So do a weight that's as heavy as you can manage for at least 10 good reps, and then just burn out. It should honestly start to feel like not even just all this muscular part down here, but even like as your tendons sort of reach up to your forearm, it should kind of feel like all this is like on fire as the set progresses. And I mean that in a good way, not like a tendonitis kind of way. So if you're feeling like discomfort, which you'd probably attribute more so to just like actual pain instead of just like the burn, maybe go a little bit lighter and, you know, don't hurt yourself, of course. Okay. All right. So I'm actually going to go back and forth between this set and then well, what I'm going to show you in like, 1 second. All right, so just as the hamstring must complement, blah, blah, blah. Let's restart that statement. Just as the hamstring must complement the quad, the bicep must complement the tricep, right? The back of your forearm must, wait, is this the front? This side of your forearm must complement this side. So sure, when you think of forearm training, usually you're kind of thinking of like maybe hammer curls or maybe a little bit of these wrist curls, but do not neglect the reverse wrist curl. So real light, like probably if you've never done it, even just grab a 10 and just kind of sit here hanging off your quad and just go back and forth like this. After you do about 10 reps, you'll start to feel how you don't need that much weight. I'm sure I could like potentially grab like a 30 or a 35 and like barely move it, but there's no point. I feel like these muscles are not used to being worked, so they don't need that much stimulus to grow. Following that logic, your calves are the total opposite. Your calves are used to being worked when you're walking around on them, so they really need a lot of stimulus. That's why I think they should be hit pretty frequently, like even maybe on a daily basis. I kind of try to do it like that. I'm not saying it's the best way, but let's get back to forearms. So I'm going to go back and forth between that set and this set. I'll probably do it maybe, I'll do 7 more times, so I'll do 8, and then we can jump to the pump check, and I'll jump on the calf machine before they kick me out. So I don't think there's any point in showing 8 of these back and forth in a row. But after you do probably 3 or 4, your forearm should start to feel so pumped that you can like at least start to have difficulty opening your fucking hands. Because this side of your fucking forearm is so pumped, your fingers don't want to extend. And then this side is like so weak, it's not strong enough to like pull them back. You get the idea. If you've never had a legit forearm pump, going back and forth between these two movements will definitely do you some good. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right. For you, let's cut to the pump check. For me, let's keep getting this forearm pump. All right, so oh no, yeah, okay, what am I talking about? They're fucking pumped, that's for sure. Like, actually, let's flip over here so it's more consistent. There we go. Yeah, this is where we were posing down a second ago. So, do they in fact look larger? A little. I don't know, it's not jumping out at me so much as triceps, but they definitely feel pumped. Like right now, it's almost like tricky for me to open and close them. Oof. How are they from the front? Is that cool? Oh yeah, we're looking, dude. Is that cool? Holy shit. That is sick. So this is like the flat of the chicken wing, right? Oh, dude, you know how like fucking... Now I was about to go on a whole unrelated B-dubs rant. No, so fully pumped. And I do feel as though, well, actually no, I don't even feel it. So I definitely know that the reason, like when I do dumbbell curls and like put the camera to the side of me, just standing here with the dumbbells, not even flexing, just holding it, like doing those reverse curls where you sit here like this, that just makes the back of your forearm look so much like meatier, like all these fancy little lines. You can't really, I'm like fully pumped. They're not really jumping out at you. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Like all of this cool shit going on, that's not from fucking just normal hammer curls or forearm curls or whatever. Like that's from that reverse curling action. Like you can hit the back of your forearm, like this kind of area, by doing reverse curls like this, but that's really working this big piece of meat, your brachial radialis, which does not really translate to that cool little fingery look down here. Like this is all from just sitting on the bench, busting those out, pumping them up. That's my cue. So no calves today. they are feeling a little bit sore. I think it might not be the worst idea to save them for tomorrow with legs. But yeah, fucking triceps fully pumped, biceps not pumped, but taking a little break so I don't accidentally rip my shit, you know? But in forearms, also fully pumped. So I call that a freaking solid day. Let's get out of here. Let's get in the car, man. We're done. All right, let's get out of here, man. I gotta go eat. I am freaking hungry. And honestly, I think I'm gonna stop at Meyer and get some more steaks. That is one benefit of the bulk. I love ribeyes, dude. They're so easy to cook, too. I mean, the fat on them. Like, just throw it in a bunch of avocado oil, high-ass heat, you know, maybe minute and a half on each side, flip it a couple times, and then you're golden. I've been doing the sous vide, where you put it in a bag and you keep it in the water. It's got a little heater or whatever. That works pretty good, but actually that works really good. But sometimes it's a little bit of a hassle because you kind of have to do it in advance. Whereas if you just throw it in a pan, you can have it, whenever the hell you want. So, triceps, that was pretty good. That was a little bit of a different lift than normal. I really focused on the lighter squeezing movements. Well, maybe not lighter squeezing movements, but lighter squeezing sets. I think that's really what I'm trying to say there. And I mean, we got a freaking full ASS pump from it. And was it just me, or did my left forearm look bigger than my right one when I was doing this kind of like boxing looking flex? I don't know. That wouldn't make sense though. My right forearm is bigger than my left one, just because it's dominant, as well as like I used it in writing, whatever, everything else. So that actually is one of the reasons why I even started implementing actual forearm training in the routine. Not even just because I wanted bigger forearms, but I wanted them to kind of balance out size-wise. So, yeah, dude, forearm pump. If you think well, how about this? If your forearms aren't like jumping out at people and people are saying like, dude, your forearms are huge, no, it's very unlikely that you're suffering from the success Ramon Dino is, with his forearms. But if your forearms aren't really jumping out at you, I say hit them with arms, maybe after back. I probably wouldn't want to hit it like I wouldn't want to do a whole forearm workout right before arms. Just because, I mean, doing curls, doing pushdowns, honestly, doing back too, a lot of movements, your forearms do get worked kind of indirectly. So let's say I had arms tomorrow and I was going to do bis as well. I probably wouldn't want to do forearms with the lift the day before, just because I think it might compromise my curling strength and whatever else like that. So I think forearms are a good addition at the end of arms, or at least at the end of biceps. That's my take on forearms. So yeah, I mean, that pretty much sums up the lift. Tries, forearms, fully pumped, and it only took about a little less than an hour. That's about right. I'd say for any muscle, for one single muscle, I only do 8 sets for a single muscle group now, pretty much. That's kind of what I've been running with. That's been my recent style, per se. So, like, every time I do chest, 8 total sets of chest across all the movements that I do. So the whole workout is 8, but it could be made up of all sorts of stuff. I could do 3 sets of incline, maybe 2 sets of hammer strength press, 2 sets of pec deck, and a cable fly, and all that adds up to 8. That's been my routine with pretty much everything. So doing that much volume with, maybe a minute, 2-minute rest periods, no muscle group really takes longer than about 45 minutes for me. Like if you're sitting here for more than an hour for chest alone, I think you're either maybe doing a little bit too much volume, or you're taking rest periods that are a little bit extra long, maybe unnecessarily long. Unnecessarily long. That's what I was trying to say. I think some people get a little bit of a, well, every time anybody says any sort of fitness advice, especially in like a comment section of anything, Instagram posts, TikToks, they kind of love to add just some fucking anger. So it's not really an awesome, place for constructive discourse. But what people will usually say when they talk about volume is they'll make it sound, well, really, I'm just trying to say people love starting shit in the comment sections. But I'll see comments where it's like, you're in the gym longer than 45 minutes? Clearly you're not fucking pushing yourself hard enough. You shouldn't even be in the gym for longer than 30 minutes if you really push yourself hard. I don't know if I necessarily agree with the way that that guy is saying it, but to an extent, I think, there's some good ideas there. If you're doing enough volume where you do a considerable amount of actual working sets, I'd say at least 6 and then maybe up to, I don't know, 12 or so. That's kind of the range in which if someone told me their chest workout and it was within that range, I'd be like, all right, if that's what you like, that's good. Anything more than 12, I think I'd be like, well, it seems like a little much. And anything less than maybe 6 or 5, I'd be like, well, I feel like you're not doing enough. That's kind of the range that I like, or that I think is about right. And that's just, kind of my fucking opinion. But where was I even going to go with this? Yeah, so if you're doing a workout, like let's just say this is the limit. Like the goal is you're fully pumped and then you're done. If you do hard working sets, by the time you get to around that 6 to 12 range-ish, somewhere in there, I think that's when you're going to hit maximum pump. And I think it's not necessarily like an indicator that the workout is done, but I almost sort of do think it is. Like by the time you're really fully pumped and you've done a good amount of working sets, I think that's not a bad cue to just call the lift. So that shouldn't really take longer than I'd say 30, 45 minutes per muscle group. So if you're in the gym for like 3 hours, I'm not saying you're not a badass and you're not really pushing yourself hard, but this kind of comes into play with what I was talking about with like working smarter. Fucking I don't mean to quote Dorian Yates, but I remember watching a little clip of him that he I think he said sort of recently. He was like, if just being in the gym for a ton of time is what got you big, then I'd be in the gym for fucking 24 hours, some shit like that. Like, Menser, I feel like has been getting a little bit of hate just because a little bit unorthodox. Well, actually, a lot of bit unorthodox, but he was spitting facts too. The whole point of the gym, the whole point of that weight session, is to stimulate muscle growth, and then once you've stimulated your muscle growth, well, let's just say stimulated your muscle to the highest degree, right, as quickly as possible. Like as the workout progresses, I'd say the amount of stimulus that you're getting kind of looks like an S curve. Right? It starts increasing, and by the end of the workout, you should have hit this peak, and that's when you leave. So that's kind of the end goal of the gym. Like, go in, do your sets really fucking hard, hit it, do enough where you get a full pump, and then you leave. I think you did it, man. I think you nailed the training aspect. Now all you got to do is either go home and eat in a deficit, or go home and, like me, have a steak with like 5 ice cream sandwiches right next to it. So I think that's what I'm gonna fucking do. Fast forward a couple of minutes. So I'll do a full day of eating soon enough. Maybe next week. They're kind of a hassle, it's like it's a whole day of eating. Obviously, I'm very comfortable with the typical schedule of just get in the car, get the little talk, and go hit the lift. But I won't deprive you of all the random shit that I eat. I'm sure it'll be just as crazy as any time before. So keep an eye out for that. But until then, day in, day out, keep pumping out some lifts, make some solid ass progress. I think before I know it, I'm going to be back at 250. I'd give it maybe another month. And then we can really get into hitting the grindstone. Because for me, 250 has been about the limit that I can hit on a bulk. So 260. In the 260s, that'll be a cool number. That will be a cool freaking number. So I'll keep some sporadic weight updates. Of course, I'm going to track it every day on my little, put it in my spreadsheet so I can see the graph of the trend lines and whatever. But don't worry, the day that I wake up 260, you're going to be the first one to freaking know it. So, keep lifting, keep eating, hit your protein, take your multivitamins and fish oils and pre-workouts and creatine, and if you're in a bulk, eat a fucking ton of carbs and fats and as well as your protein. And then if you're in a cut, man, you gotta fucking chill out. I know you're going over your surplus, or you're spilling over into a surplus just a little bit. Come on, man, you gotta back off a little, you know. Even I'm prone to going a little bit overboard when I'm cutting. I tend to have a little bit of difficulty really sticking to my deficit. Sometimes I spill over a couple hundred. But, you know, if you're telling yourself you're in a cut, then you better freaking believe it, and you better get hyped up to actually stay in a deficit, you know? Like, you gotta enjoy it while you can, so that when you bulk, you can really bulk hard, knowing you actually gave yourself a little bit of a, you know, body fat reset from the cut. That is, if bulking, cutting is your deal. So, I think that's all I got. I'll see you next time.